All right, I want to teach you guys how to properly make a listing on Investorlift or any platform you guys use. It starts with a title. Now, a lot of our buyers get properties from all over the place. Even if they're just buying in Morrisville, North Carolina, people get them on their buyers list. They send them deals all over North Carolina that don't make sense, and their email, their inbox gets all clogged up. So we only send deals to buyers that where it makes sense, where they're geotagged. So we want to put the market our property is in first and foremost in the title. So they know when they get this property, they know exactly where it's at and they're going to click on it. It doesn't make any sense to blanketly send any North Carolina deal to any North Carolina buyer. Make sure you're geotagging and listing your buyers in your buyers list in the markets they're actually buying and only send them deals there. So first things first, we want to put the market in the very first part of the title. Every title gets a couple of emojis. This one has a fixer-upper house and a nicely renovated house because it's a flip. Always use two emojis. Any more, it looks like a dang Toys R Us on there. And any less, it just is too plain nowadays and doesn't get enough clicks. So we also want to put in the title exactly the benefits of buying this. Like what monetarily is the benefit of this deal? If you don't put any type of profit or you don't put turnkey or rent rate or anything like that, it's just another email with a fix and flip. It doesn't give them any information. It doesn't motivate the buyer to actually click on this. So we're always going to put our gross profit in the title so it gets more clicks, and also the market it is in, and a couple emojis. Now, even if it's a piece of shit house and it's all boarded up, all that, you still want to put every single photo you have in the listing or in a photo link in the listing. Never, hide what your property is truly like. These are off-market properties that are distressed and discounted, and the benefit of getting this property is the buyer is getting it at a discount. So even if it is a tear down, you ran your numbers right, it's still a good deal. Don't be ashamed to show them the true condition of the house. The more transparent you are about the property, the more your buyers are going to want to work with you, and the more you're not going to waste anybody's time if it's not the right deal for them. They're ultimately going to see this property anyway if they're interested, so put as many photos as possible. Now, if you're trying to deceive your buyers, you're not going to sell the deal anyway. Like, do the numbers make sense? Like on this one, we have a price of $160 and the ARV is $300. It's a shit box, but the numbers are there to make it work and to make it a good deal, and that's why we sent it out, and we're not ashamed of the shitty photos, or the shitty condition of the house in the photos, I should say. Next thing we do, we just copy and paste the title right here in the listing, and I'll tell you why we do that later. And then the next subtitle is literally just to tell all of our investors where exactly this property is in comparison to the market. So what is it close to? Does it have good school ratings? This one has award-winning schools. It's close to a shopping center. It's easy access to I-77. And there's tons of potential in the profit in a great neighborhood of Mooresville. So give like a quick little, 1 or 2 sentence summary of where the property is. We don't give out the address because we want buyers to call in so we can actually talk to them and sell them on this property. If you put the address in there every time, they're just going to run comps. They're going to get distracted. They're not going to get back to it. If they do an address request or they text or call in or email back about the address, now you know you got one on the hook, and you can call them and let them know exactly what's going on with this property and why it's such a good deal. You want to get these buyers on the phone. It's hard to sell a property, through text or email. It's a great starter, but you want to get them on the phone so you can tell them the benefits of buying this. Next thing we do, we put another photo link right here in the listing. We have our asking price nice and big with the ARV. We have a preferred lender link with a lender that we work with in case anybody needs a hard money lender for the flip. And then we want to break down the investment and the strategy and the what the exit strategy is for the investor. This one's a great fix and flip. You got a purchase price of 160 grand, a rehab is 70. You're all in at 230. The ARV is 300, and you have a gross profit of 70 grand. Now you're going to have to take out, commissions and closing costs on that. But, even if the buyer walks away with $50,000, still a great deal. And then we want to prove to them, after we break down the investment, we want to prove the ARV. So we put a couple comps in here, proving our ARV. And then what's another strategy? They can just be buying this thing with equity. All the other cash comps sold for more than ours, and they were in similar condition. You're getting a hell of a deal at 160 no matter what you do with it. This one also could work as a buy and hold if somebody's trying to park some money. You could buy it for 160. The rental rehab is going to come down because they're not flipping it. So we usually cut that rehab about in half because you're not going to spend as much on a rehab when you're buying and holding a property as you do flipping a property. So your total investment would be 190 grand, and the current rent for 16 to 1700 a month. Now, if this was a great BRRRR method, if somebody could come in here, get a 1% rule or better, you would break down the BRRRR method. You would break down what the purchase price, the rehab, the rent would be, and then you would see what the refi would come out to. If somebody wanted to refinance this at $190,000 and pull all their cash out, would it cash flow? On this one, probably not. That's why we didn't break down the BRRRR method. But say somebody bought this for 100 grand, put 30 into it, and refinanced the 130 and rents for 16 to 1700, they would absolutely work for a BRRRR method and a refi to pull your money out. So then you would break down that BRRRR method for them. What are the current rates? What are the taxes? What would insurance be? What would their total payment be every single month? And what would the rents be? So you can break that down if it works. This one, the BRRRR doesn't work, so we didn't break it down. But a lot of these markets, BRRRRs don't work, and people just want to buy and hold, and they're using cash. They're not going to refi, and this is an area like that where getting a 1% rule or better is really hard. So some people do just buy rentals, that are less than a 1% rule and park their money there and wait for the appreciation. Then you want to do a property overview, just the details of the property. It's a 3-1, 1,247 square feet, built in 1927. And then the details. You're going to go over, what needs to be repaired, the age of everything. This one has vinyl siding. The roof is solid with no leaks. It's a little bit older. Breakers in the service panel and copper plumbing throughout, so that's been updated. Hot water heater is only 10 years old, and it's got a newer AC unit. Now, what are the additional insights? There's a lot of flips pending on the market. There's been a long-term tenant in this one, so it's a good rental area. Attention required. It needs cosmetic updates and a roof. The roof is old. It's not leaking like we said, but if you're going to hold this as a rental or flip it, you're probably going to have to put a new roof on. It's really old. So cosmetic and a roof, that's all that needs to be done to this thing. Vacancy, it's currently tenant occupied, but will be delivered vacant. We never put what the current tenant is paying because it doesn't matter. They're usually paying way under market rent. So why even put that in there? It's just going to beat you up on price. So we just want to put the comps in there that show what the current market rent is, the current ARV, what other properties are selling as is, and that'll all show why this is a good deal. Call the schedule showings. We got our phone number, and then a tentative close date on or before June 10th of 2024. So all this information is in the body of the listing. And why do we put everything in there? Our phone number, photo link, comps, links, everything. It's because when we're on the phone, when we're cold calling, or we list this on the MLS, or we're talking to an investor about another property, we want to send them this one. We don't have to send them the link to the website. All we have to do is copy and paste this entire listing and just put it in an email and send it off, and they have every bit of information anybody else does or did when we sent this property out. They're going to have the title in there. They're going to have the breakdown on the investment. They have the area in which it's in, the condition, the comps, what the best exit strategies are, the photo links in there. They can click on the lender link if they need it. They have our phone number. They have the close date. They literally have everything. So having everything centralized in your listing so you can quickly email those out is very important, because if you start sending links to websites and stuff like that, a lot of times if you're trying to text something like that, it'll get flagged from the carrier and the buyer will never get it. So always go through email, and they won't have to click on websites and sign up for anything. All they have to do is read an email. All the links are in there. Just copy and paste as is, and they'll have all the information they need. So this is exactly how you want to do a listing. It'll get a lot more clicks. Your buyers are going to be super happy with you because now they know every bit of information. There's no stone unturned. They can't beat you up on price because you've already broke it down for them. So no more sending out bad deals to investors. They cannot tell you anything other than what you have told them in this, because you have ran the comps. You know what the rehab, range is going to be because you looked at the photos, and you know what rents are going for, and you know what other cash buys and as is are going for because you ran all your comps and you put it in there. So it's going to make your negotiations a lot better, a lot smoother. You could be a lot more comfortable on the phone because every time they throw out a different comp or they throw out a different rehab or rent rate or anything like that, when they're trying to beat you up on price, all you got to do is refer to your listing and say, well, I saw, 453 Hager Lake Road, and that one sold for $318. It was a super simple rehab, and it was just like our house. It's right down the street. So you can't tell me the ARV isn't at least 300 because that one is sold, and it wasn't even a high-end rehab. So all your information in this listing will help in negotiations. It's going to help with getting clicks on the deal. It's going to get a lot more inbound calls, a lot more interest, and a lot more sight unseen offers because they have a very good view of everything. Now, once your buyers get used to how you're doing your listings and sending deals out and all the information you put in here, they're going to get a lot more comfortable with sight unseen offers. They're going to trust you more. They're going to know every time they get a deal from Tony, they are going to know everything they need to know about this property. They might still have to do a walkthrough or not, but they're going to be a lot more solid on their numbers. They're not going to kick tires. They're not going to beat around the bush. They know you know what you're talking about because you've showed them you know what you're talking about. So if you want to sell more deals and make more money, do your listings just like this.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching my video. If you'd like to watch more videos, my playlist is right here. And if you'd like to subscribe, click down here. I'll see you guys at the top.